What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our Let's Play here on the Bedrock edition. Now today we are finally going to be cracking on with this sheep farm, which has been in the holdings for around about 2 or 3 episodes now. Now the concept behind this, like I said in the last episode, it is actually built off the concept of another farm that I saw. Now it is originally Ethos design, which he done about, I think it's about 3.5–4 years ago, right at the beginning of his series. Now that was well before a lot of the redstone sort of mechanics came into it, especially observer blocks was never in the game at that point. So we're going to be utilising the observer blocks to sort of build around the same concept. I am putting a link to his video of the pop-up sheep farm in the description below in case you want to check that out. It's like right towards the beginning of his Let's Play series. I think it's like he's got about 450 odd episodes out. And I think it's at about 150 or 60 episode it was that he done it in. So we're talking a good like 3 or 4 years ago. Now the concept behind it is that we're going to have the, I think it will be easier if I actually just built a sort of module of it for you to see. But before we jump into it, I am going to quickly show you the sort of, I've made a little bit of progress on the sort of cathedral, and that's just outside the front here. So if we just hop over to here. Now I've sort of got the front face of it done. At the moment, as you can see, I'm only building like the outer facade of it. Now the front of it, at the beginning, or at the top of that brown section just there where it goes up in a point, I'm going to want like a sort of oval shaped window at the top there, just to break up the wood up there. Then either side of the door, I'm probably going to do, I don't know, some sort of design. But I'm quite happy with the way that that bit's come out, just to sort of break it up a little bit. And then obviously that roof is then going to extend all the way back towards where it sort of curves out at the back end there. And I'll hopefully make a little bit more progress during this episode on it. But we'll see how we get on with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of my redstone bits and pieces, and I'm going to quickly build one module of it just so that, without getting attacked by these guys, and show you how it all works. Because after I build it all in, I'm planning on getting at least, I want to be able to get 16 modules in either side. So then we've got 32, which will be 2 of every coloured sheep. And I'm also hoping that I've got enough sheep as well. So I may actually have to breed them as well during the episode. But yeah, I'm just going to crack out with this first little section, and I'll bring you back to run you through how it works. Okay, so I've managed to get this first module sort of built up, and just to show you how it all sort of works. Now the principle behind it is, have we still got a hoe on us? Yes, we have. What's going to happen is that the sheep are actually going to be, let me just grab this and this. The sheep are going to be sitting right on this block here. Now what happens is that the observer actually recognises when a sheep eats grass, but it doesn't recognise when grass grows, which allows us to actually utilise the observer in this case. Now with the sheep sitting just there, we're obviously going to have it boxed in. They're just taller than a 1 high gap, so they won't actually be able to get out of there. And then just at the top section here, we're obviously going to have some glass. Now when the sheep gets pushed up, because there's a sticky piston just underneath that bit of glass there, which is going to be activated by the observer, the sheep will then get pushed up into this glass block. Once they're inside the glass block, they won't actually be able to jump out of it. And so it will allow us to shear the sheep. The wall, when you shear it, doesn't actually drop anywhere underneath. It always pops up top, which I've done multiple testing in my redstone test world. So that will then pop up once the sheep eats grass. So if I just get my hoe just to simulate this, when that happens, it will pop it up like that. And then you're able to shear the sheep. Once they've eaten the grass and got their wool back, you shear it. And then the principle behind it is that after you've sheared all the sheep, you can just press one main button, which will then feed to a line to all of these units that I'm going to be building. Now obviously it looks quite chunky. I'm going to have to try my best to smallen the size down, because I'm going to want the next sort of piston to be right on this spot here, because I'm only going to want a 1 wide gap in between each section, which means I'm probably going to have to do these sort of like bang on the side of each other, which is going to be quite difficult, because the way this works is that when you activate it, what it's actually doing is sending a signal not only to this dropper here. The droppers are set in a round robin sort of formation. So if we've got any droppers near us, please, thank you. What it actually does is, how I'm working it is that we'll have like a dropper facing into a dropper facing up, and then a dropper facing up into one facing backwards that way, and then we'll have another dropper which will then be facing down into that one. So then what happens is that when you send the signal to this dropper here, it will then activate this one also, so then it will send it one there and then to there, and then we'll have the comparator coming out of here, which will then feed into the sticky piston, which will push the sheep up. And then when you reset it and send the signal, it will then send the item that's in this one back up to there and then back round to here as a reset point, ready for the sheep to eat the grass again. Now, you can, in a way, work it with only 2 droppers. And the way of doing that is, if you just had a dropper facing that way and a dropper facing that way, and then if you wanted to do it just to the 2 droppers, obviously, oh, that one's facing the wrong way now, isn't it? Let's just quickly switch that back around. So we'll have that one facing into that one, and then you can just have a block in front of each one, and then we want, say, a repeater into each of these. Can we get a couple of buttons on us? Have we got any stone to do this? Yes, we have. Then if we had a couple of buttons, and then we go like button and button, and just say that we had an item in there that emits a signal, and then we grab our comparators, say that one's there, so that's now outputting the signal. So this will be after the sheep's eaten grass, so then pop it up. And then what you do is that when you reset it, you just send the item back and forth, and that's just by using the blocks in front. That is a sort of simpler way of doing it, but each time I tried to do it that way, it was, because you have to have the extra blocks there, it was actually making it a lot more chunkier than it had to be, which was slightly annoying. So for me to be able to smallen the design down into this sort of 2 wide gap. Now, if you watch Ethos' original version of this farm, because there were no observer blocks, he had to actually use a very old school block update detector, which was a pretty chunky redstone sort of design. I've been trying my best just to sort of compact it down just so I can fit as many in as possible. Now, we're very limited on room, because just behind this wall here, I believe somewhere, is our villager streams, where our villagers actually come down from the breeder. Now, I've also had to change the water streams in this since the update, well, the aquatic update came out. When you put down a water source block, I'm swimming like stupidly quick, I need to get back out of this, I'm out. There we go. Have we got a bucket of water on us? No, we have not, because that way I would actually be able to demonstrate what I mean. Let's just grab some ice. As you can see, I've got ice and buckets because I broke into that water stream accidentally, not realizing it was there. So if we just do that, break you, grab you. Now, if we just break a little line here, just so I can show you what I mean about the water streams. When you place it, initially with the water streams, when you place a block and it's got somewhere to run to, the initial block that you place down would actually also be a sort. It would look like still water, but it would push you in the direction that the water streams go in. But as you can see, since the aquatic update came out, when you stand in this block, it is no longer pushing you. The block that you place down of water will always be a solid source block without any movement, regardless of whether or not the actual stream itself is moving. So the way that I actually accidentally ran across this when I dug into it, and I realised I had about 30 or 40 villagers stuck in this water stream that stretches all the way over from my breeder. So what I've had to do is pick up all the water streams, dig a hole in, just so that the first block of water, where it's just a solid still block of water, is no longer in the water streams themselves. So then the second block will be here, and it will actually be moving water. So I've actually had to go ahead and change all of that. I had to do the same with my zombie XP farm because that was broken. And I went there, that's where I had initially found out. After I saw the villagers build up, I went over to the zombie spawner. And after around about 15 or 20 minutes, I noticed that there was no zombies whatsoever. That was when I was just AFKing. And yeah, there was like, I think it was about at least about 50 or 60 zombies just stuck in the corner at the top of the mob elevator. So I had to go change that a little bit to make sure that the water stream was running and that they was getting pushed along. But yeah, just a little note in case you have got water streams and you're wondering how comes your stuff isn't working at the moment. That is more than likely why, because the water streams are going to have to be done slightly different in the way that I've done them. Just a little quick fix for it is that you just dig a block into the side using the signs in the same similar fashion for water streams. You just have to make sure that the beginning of your water stream is the second block of water and not the source block. Just a little note for you in case you need to fix any of your stuff. But yeah, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is that this module, I'm more than likely going to have to make some changes to it, because the way that I'm going to have to do it is that they're actually going to have to be sitting like side by side like this. And I'm really worried in the issue that when this one activates here, it's also going to be activating this one here, which could mess up the item rotation. So yeah, I may actually have to make slight modifications to it after I've put it in just to see how it reacts. But yeah, I'm going to whack it all in and I'll bring you back once I've got all of the modules in. Hopefully I can fit 16 in each side. But yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, so after quite a lot of work and quite a lot of modifications to the whole system on multiple different times now, it's unfortunately, I've only managed to get, I think it's 15 in either side, which means we're going to have to miss out on one of the colours. I'll probably miss out on just the white sheep, and that's because we've got tons of white wool from our spider farm already. So it's not too much of a loss, but yeah, we are going to have to miss one of the 16 colours. Now, as you can see, the sort of modification I've had to make to it is that the second dropper facing downwards, I've had to replace with a hopper on each unit. And I was running into the issue that I initially thought that I was going to run into, and that was where this one was then going to be activating this one. So what I've done is a hopper with a redstone torch on top. Now this means that when a sheep eats grass, it will actually send it a signal here, which will then deactivate the redstone torch, allowing the item to get fed through to the hopper and into this one down here. But what isn't happening is that when I send the signal back, if a sheep happens to eat grass at the exact same point as it's going down on the rare occurrence, it won't be able to send the signal to this one over here, which will then send the item on a half loop. But what it does mean is that to reset the whole thing, to make sure all the items are back in their original place, well, in the correct place, each time you reset it, you're just going to have to hit the button a couple of times just to ensure that the actual, I think I've got a stone sword in each one. Now the stone sword will either land in the hopper or the dropper at the top. Now it doesn't matter which one it lands in. Once a sheep eats grass, it will give enough time for it to end up in this bottom right hand corner one, which will allow the sheep to then pop up into the glass which still needs to be placed. But yeah, it was a lot of finicking around. Now obviously I've had to sort of shift it over to the right hand side quite a bit, because on the left hand side we had our villager stream, which will run into our villager sort of trading hall, and I couldn't go back any further because that way actually backs onto, I believe it's our wheat farms that run parallel to the tracks. If we head over to this way, and I think it runs, yeah, it ran all the way over here, and where I was digging out this way, I've obviously come underneath the track, and it was running into the water stream, which was just behind this wall here. So I actually sort of got stuck, and the maximum I could put in was 15, and that was putting it in literally side by side, as you could see. just hop back over here. Oh yeah, just the kelp did actually grow, and it does actually look quite a lot better. Still got all the fish there. I've double checked to make sure that all the fish are there. The puffer fish is still definitely in there. So each time I hop in, he just ends up poisoning me. The sea pickle things, they're not growing. So I'm assuming that they have to grow on the coral or something. Have I got any placed on coral? I have actually got one placed on coral just down there. But unless you have to grow them with bone meal or something, I have no idea. I've not checked out the mechanics of them yet. But by the looks of it, they're not actually emitting light when you place them down manually. Or not that I can tell anyway. Yeah. But I still like it down there. It still looks very busy and sort of chaotic, which I like. Now, yeah, with this design, it took quite a lot of tinkering around. I'm quite happy with the way it's come out and it's working so far. We won't really be able to see it at how it works until we get the sheep in. Now, like I said, this is no way going to be an efficient farm in the concept that the sheep aren't on a continuous rotation. This is going to be a farm that I sort of harvest whenever I'm passing by, and the sheep, I just like the sort of gimmicky action of it that the sheep will pop up once they're ready to be sheared, and you don't need them all to be popped up in order to do a harvest. If like 5 or 6 of them are up, you just go harvest them and reset the whole system just by pressing this button a couple of times. And that will make sure that all the items are back in the right place for the sheep to then eat grass and pop up. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way it's come out. The red zone behind it I've made extremely compact. I've had to alternate the way the redstone is on the end. As you can see, every other piston has the block missing. And that's because if we had the redstone in the same place, the unit on the right and left would be activating the one in the middle. So if we had obviously redstone dust there and there and there, oh, I don't want to go breaking torches, then whenever this one gets activated, it would then also be activating this piston, and when this one gets activated, it would be activating this piston, and so on and so forth. So I've sort of had to stagger the redstone. Obviously, if you didn't want the units so close together to one another, it would be a lot simpler. So if I had more room to work with down here, if I had built it off that way, I'd have infinite amount of room to actually work with. But because I chose to build it in this section here, I've tried to compact it down as small as I possibly could. And I'm quite happy with the sort of challenge that it came up with, because having to compact a unit like this into, what is the sort of footing of it? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6x2 unit that I've compacted it down to, which I think is extremely small, considering that my first iteration of it was absolutely massive. Actually, if I show you the sort of process that I went through this quickly. So if we go, let me just jump into my redstone test world and I'll show you. Alright guys, now we're over in our redstone test world. I have run into a bug with our system. Now I tested this after the aquatic update came out and it was working 100% fine. But obviously since the second update came out, it was only about 105 megabyte update that came out. Somehow it's managed to break it like completely, and it's not a case that you can't push mobs into opaque blocks, which is like glass and glowstone and such, because as you can see, this one's now just sitting in a glass block fine. He's not had any like troubles or issues. We just get rid of this cow quickly. I can show you the issue that is now. I don't know what they must have been working on for this to have been a bug added. But even without any block above it, if you try to push any animal on any sort of block whatsoever using a piston, the block that it's standing on will actually glitch into the animal like that, and then when you bring it back down, the animal's just getting stuck in the ground. Now, I honestly have no idea how or what they must have been working on for this bug to have happened. but it definitely was in the second update after the aquatic update that this has now happened, which has completely busted my entire design of the farm that I created, which is a little bit of a pain because I spent quite a lot of time. Now, as you can see around here, I have been doing a lot of experimenting as to, first of all, I was just trying this simple way, like back and forth, just to see if it was just the glass blocks that it was glitching into, and then I tried it with like leaf blocks, and then glowstone, and then string with carpet, and I tried every block possible, thinking that it was the block that is trying to be pushed through. Then I started trying it without any block above it, and yeah, it's not just the sheep, but it's cows as well, and pigs. It's all animals whatsoever. You cannot push them on a block. That's the thing. What I don't understand though is that you can push them on a standard piston, which is fine. So if we just break this quickly, we just get a piston up here and just make some room, and then just enclose it a bit, just to make sure that the animal doesn't actually get out. And get rid of them blocks. Bring that up like so, and then we just put a button on there. If we put an animal on there, if we push it up, it'll get pushed up fine, no problem whatsoever. But if you put a block on it, so we're going to actually have to bring this up by one more. If we were then to say put that block there and then put a sheep in there, if we then try push it up, and then that's what happens. The animal's actually glitching through the block itself. And yeah, GG Microsoft again for managing to bust something that they shouldn't have even been working on whatsoever. I don't know what they've been working on for that bug to have been introduced in the 105 mega update that they released. It was yesterday they actually came out, and I'd built the entire farm. All of that recording was done prior to that 105 megabyte update, and it was all working fine. But now, obviously, it is completely and utterly busted for me, which is a bit of a pain, but hopefully it's a bug that they're going to be able to fix. I'm definitely going to report it as a bug in the hopes that they can fix it, but for the time being, what I'm thinking I can do just to save this project, like the saving grace of it, is to keep all of the pods that I'm going to be having sheep in active, so they're always up. Now, grass will still spread to that block, although the block is directly underneath glass, because grass can spread underneath any opaque blocks, such as glass, string, glowstone. I think pistons are counted as opaque blocks as well. And with it, you can still force glass into a mob, which is no problem whatsoever. So, say if we wanted to bring this glass down, we do one of them, and then just like so, and then just like so. Now, this won't suffocate the mob at all, but as you can see, it sort of pops up there, and when you shear it, it will still, like, the wall will still pop up, no problem. So what I'm thinking is that we will just keep all of our pods in the on position. I'm hating the fact that I've got so much grass around here because I'm getting random animals spawning everywhere. And as you can see, I tried so many different concepts of trying to make this work. Like, I first of all thought, well, maybe you could push minecarts up and down, but sheep won't actually eat when they're in minecarts. Stationary, on tracks, off tracks, move in, not move in. Also in boats, they won't actually eat either, which is a little bit annoying. So as I was thinking that if you could move a boat up and down, then we could just put boats in each of the pods for them to be activated, deactivated, and so what. But yeah, none of that's gonna work in our farm because oh, will you get lost? I'm definitely gonna have to go around and get rid of all of this grass though, just to stop the animals from spawning around here. So otherwise, when so many animals spawn around here, my redstone world starts getting really, really laggy. This over here is just a concept of 3 iron farms on top of each other with the minimal distance. I'll whack this one up in around about 20 minutes or so just to see what the spawn things were like. And yeah, it's nowhere near as good as the quad iron golem farm, but I thought it was just a little idea on the side, and that's me getting sidetracked again. Yeah, so I think for the quick fix for the time being is that we're just going to have all of the pods that we've got for the sheep to be permanently on, like in the upwards position, so you don't get them popping back down and then popping up when they're ready to be sheared again. It's just going to be a case where their heads are all going to be popping out like this, and they will still get their, is it fur, would you say, or pelt? They would still get their pelt or wool back. There we go, wool. I'm thinking of arc. They will get their wool back because the grass will still grow underneath the glass block, which is a positive. It's just that you don't get the sort of gimmicky funness of it, of them popping up here and there as and when they need to be sheared, which is the whole point of the farm, which is really annoying. But yeah, I'm going to quickly hop back over into my world and I'll see how hard it is to keep that on the permanently on position. So let's go see. Okay, now we're over here. I've done a little bit of tidying up in between clips, and I think the easiest way of keeping this in the on position is for us to go through and just put all of the swords into the place where it will actually keep it in the on position. And the only thing that we've got to make sure we don't do is hit the reset button, really. I think that is yeah, the simplest way. So I'm going to quickly run through this, put all the swords in place and keep it all in the on position, and I think the funness is going to begin when we have to actually start moving the sheep, because we're going to have to move the sheep into position and then force glass down onto them, which is a lot harder than it would have been to get the sheep in place. Let me just quickly run through these. Okay, now you can see that I've actually tidied it all up and I've sort of smoothed it out, evened it out both sides. I thought I'd bring you back for the first transportation of one of our sheep. Now we're only going to want one of these, so how this is going to work is they're all just going to come piling out by the looks of it. Now we want one and only one at a time, please. Can we just budge you along? Pinch you off, and then we should have some wheat on us. If we then do this, and I've sorted it all out just so that we can sort of push him down into the hole, hopefully. We do that, and then come on, let's get in the hole. There we go. But no, you don't. We do that, push it down by 1, push it down by 2. Oh, quickly break that. That's close. We may have to get some splash potions of healing, or we're going to have to use another glass block to push down afterwards. And then he should hopefully not be able to get out of there. Fingers crossed. Do that. And I've actually gotten rid of our reset button just so that we don't accidentally press it at any point. Yeah, that button should pop off. There we go. Also, I've noticed that when you're holding the button, look, it's just sort of floating around. It's like your hands now are just not there, which is a little bit weird. Right, even if we get some wheat now, he shouldn't be able to jump out of there, which is excellent. And then we want to replace our torch that I threw somewhere. Let's grab you. Put a torch just over there, just to keep this area lit up for the time being. Now, I've got to do that another 29 times, hopefully. It all goes as smoothly, but yeah. Once I've got that all done and they're all in place and I've dyed them all up, I'll bring you back for the final product. So yeah, see you back in a bit. Alright then guys, now I've got all the sheep in place, and I actually had to go all the way over to the ocean biome to get some ink sacs just to finish up getting the dyes to dye them. Now, let me quickly go and grab a pair of shears for the first harvest. I'm fairly sure I built shears somewhere. Have we got any shears? By the looks of it, no. Let's grab some iron. Definitely need to go on a mining run soon because, as you can see, we're completely out of iron ore and we're running very low on iron now. So, let me grab these. Hop on over. Yeah, it did take a while to get all the dyes and to make sure that I got all the colours right. So as you can see, we've got a very colourful sheep farm. They're all sort of stuck in the ground at the moment. It will be a lot more better once it's fully functioning and the glitch is sort of fixed. Obviously, I'm not going to activate it until the glitch has been fixed. So I've left the block here of andesite where the button's meant to go. Now, obviously, I can move the button to like a pressure plate or something to reset it, or even up in the ceiling, somewhere more discreet, and that way we carry on our sort of grass pathway going up that way. But I sort of made the sort of cave thing look all natural just to match the rest of it. We've got a big area over here now. I had to kill off like 20 sheep. I had about 22 many. But as we harvest, as you can see, all of the wool will be just coming out on top that we can collect and, okay, have a cheerful day. I didn't even know that was a thing. That is not the first time I've used shears to gather wool. Can't be. Oh, I think because most of the white wool that we've got already is from the spider farm. I didn't actually shear any sheep. Yep, if we just go through here. And rainbow collection. Gather all 16 colours of wool. Yay! 2 achievements. So yeah, we're getting roughly what, around about 2 to 3 per each sheep. And then the grass underneath them should grow fine at some point, hopefully. Let's have a look. So I know because even when they have got wool on, they still eat the grass whenever it does actually grow. So it may be a while before it grows again and they actually eat. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. It went a little bit pear-shaped considering that the glitch came in halfway through me recording it. Like when I first started recording it and after I first built the actual initial farm, it was working fine. And then the following day after the update, when I decided to carry on recording, it chose to introduce that glitch, which was not the greatest of timing, but can't be helped. Hopefully it will be fixed soon, so that way we can get the full effect of it. So when they eat, they actually pop up with their wool, rather than them just all looking very bare. But as you can see, this one's already grown its wool back. So this is something, I'm just going to put some storage probably in the wall over here, just for the coloured wool. Probably a single chest for each wool colour, and I'll just come through and harvest it every now and again. But it's just so that we've got all the colours of wool on hand, if and as we need them. But as you can see, it's like it doesn't take that long for them to actually eat the grass and grow their wool back. Like that one's just done it again now. And this way they're not all wandering around, and if you want all just one type of colour of wool, it won't take 2 seconds just to run through and dye them all one colour if you need a lot of it. But yeah, you saw how I done it. If you wanted to, you can just have this as a farm. It's quite organised and it's very easy to do without any of the redstone whatsoever to trap them into a glass block in the floor. They can't actually escape from it. And I showed you how to do that after the initial sort of mess up due to the glitch. But yeah, wow, these things are actually growing the wall back very quickly. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I will see you all for the next one. Before I go though, when I went out to get some ink for the rest of the dye, I did actually make a little bit more progress on this. The cathedral, if I can find a way out. There we go. If we hop just over here, I've sort of just done another sort of facade for the side wall. So we're going to be going up about that high, and then we're going to be doing probably a slanted roof going in a bit, and then another bit of wall which will then lead on to the main roof, which is going to be coming across. And I'm quite happy with that design. Obviously we're not going to have the bricks back there, we're going to have windows. So yeah, it's coming along bit by bit, and obviously I'll just show you progress updates as and when I sort of work on it. I did just notice though that I've left a few blocks over the other side. Have we got any stone bricks? Yes, we have. Before any zombies spawn and decide to attack all of our villagers, which will be a very bad day. As you can see, I've got ladders going everywhere at the moment from where I was building. Thankfully, I've not been AFK over here at all. I've been actually wandering around and getting bits and pieces. But yeah, that side is sort of done. I've got to replicate that one onto the other side. I've got to bring the roof all the way across, but that's going to use an absolute ton of resources. I don't know what colour to do the roof though. I'm thinking to do a brighter colour of wood rather than sticking with just like the dark oak. I'm probably thinking like standard oak wood and then break it up with sort of like stone brick arches going up and down it, which I think should look eventually pretty good. No idea what to do with this end section here as it sort of rounds out, but I'll figure that out as I come to it. But yeah, I'll try and end this episode again. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.